Hello, good evening,
I
everybody.
almost fell asleep. Good evening.
How we doing tonight, Space?
I'm doing great, Bill. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. It's been a long week, ready to dive back in and talk some more fantasy football as always, and bitch about the Bears a little bit as we tend to do.
And while we were from last week to now, and by the way, for those of you who are tuning in tonight and looking for the mouse, I have here, hold on, official document from Fat Mike that this week the mouse is suspended. He has to show a real vaccination card. If he doesn't, he's suspended. And he didn't do it, so that's it. Okay, go ahead, Tyrbill. What are you saying about the Bears? By the way, I created a theme song for the network.
You did?
1252 Sports Entertainment. There, what do you think?
I think we'll give it a go. I'll give you an A+ for effort.
Thanks, buddy. Bears. Let's talk about the Bears. I'm telling you, I'm going to tell everybody one thing. If you're a gambler, take the Ravens. And what is it, 6.5 points?
6.5 right now, yes.
I'm telling you the Ravens will win by double digits.
And I'm going to tell you something different momentarily, but...
Okay, and I'm going to tell you, just in case, we try to give our listeners the best damn information we can. We'll steal information from anybody. And the bottom line is, I got it right here. It's on the same piece of paper. I got where Khalil Mac is out for the whole season.
Yes. Khalil Mac is out for the rest of the season with his lingering foot issue. It sounds like he's going to undergo surgery. Obviously, a huge detrimental loss to the Bears on the defensive side of the ball. They did bring in a veteran edge rusher to try to supplement a little bit, but nobody can compare to Khalil Mac. I mean, the guy's absolutely outstanding, top 5 defensive edge rusher in the league by far. Huge detrimental blow to the Chicago Bears defense. But with that being said, I think this week, I do think the Bears probably lose. Ultimately, I think the Ravens are just going to have too much for the Chicago Bears team to handle. Lamar Jackson's going to do what he does so well and utilize his legs. Maybe they'll take a little bit of film and realize how they should use Justin Fields in designed rollouts.
My feeling here is, I'm glad you agree, and let's not forget, the Ravens are ticked off. The Ravens are ticked off because of last week on how they lost and who they lost to. The bottom line here is maybe the Bears are better off. Stop trying to win games. Let's get a decent draft pick, or do we owe it to someone? By the way,
we owe it.
If we counted today, the Khalil Mac from the Raiders trade, who we traded the Raiders the draft picks for, both of those guys are cut from the team on the Raiders. Khalil Mac is now out. So as it stands right now, the Khalil Mac trade with the Raiders is net zero.
as of now, I guess so. You could say that.
It's net zero. What do you mean we could say it?
Honestly, looking at the Bears, just to recap, obviously they were on the bye last week. The weekend before, tough loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we saw
every loss a tough loss.
Every loss is a tough loss, but it stings a little more when it comes right at the end of the game by a field goal.
You know what I do here when I'm doing this? I'm davening. For those of you Jewish people, daven. I don't. I'm only joking. But look up davening on Google. Go ahead, Darble.
Looking at the Bears' loss against the Steelers, I touched on it a little bit last week. We saw some tremendous growth that hopefully is sustainable in Justin Fields. I was listening to the Rich Eisen podcast, and he said something along the lines of Justin Fields finally took his Huggies off, meaning he finally had that breakout moment where he's going to turn the page and he's going to be the leader of men on this team moving forward. With that being said, I don't know that the Bears have enough to compete with the Ravens, but I'm hoping that we continue to see that sustained growth in Justin Fields. That's what this season's really about.
By the way, isn't Allen Robinson doubtful?
Allen Robinson is doubtful for anyone that's got him in a lineup, although if
they're losing anyway.
Yeah,
If
you
you have to
haven't.
rely on Allen Robinson, you're losing. Get out of the league. Get a gun. Kill yourself. Whatever. No, don't kill yourself.
Allen
Seriously.
Robinson was a guy that really screwed me. Just to say that he was available in two of my leagues at what seemed to be a prime spot for a guy that had 1,000 reception yards the last prior 2 seasons. But, then he comes out and he just doesn't have the connection with Fields that Darnell Mooney and others have. And it's shown. But I do think we've started to see the turning point for Justin Fields. And I think that
Yes.
Cole Kmet has finally started to fit into that receiver type tight end role that we need him to in Chicago. So
don't knock Nagy. I'm one of the biggest ones who knock Nagy, but I think Tarbo, we touched on it last week. Did he do this on purpose and didn't want to start Fields because he knew what he needed to do? And so I believe in on-field learning. We'll see what happens. Hey, I just have to say one thing to all of our fantasy listeners. Thank you for the cards and letters. Keep them coming. But Tarbo, did you watch last night's game?
I watched about half of last night's game.
I'm going to say to everybody, this team is legit. This team being the New England Patriots. The kid, Mac Jones, was exactly what everybody said. He'll come in and not make a mistake for you. Don't let him throw more than 20 times a game. And boy, oh boy, did New England all of a sudden get running backs on their team. They get rid of no James White, no this, no that, and all of a sudden they're running like crazy.
Well, and that's the thing is you look at a coach like Bill Belichick, and obviously one of the best to ever be coaching in the NFL. The guy schematically adjusts to his players so well. He suits his players. He plays to the strengths of his players constantly and evolves the recipe around his players and the strengths they have. And that's why they're so successful. Unfortunately, in Chicago, Matt Nagy is trying to plug a square peg into a round hole. And no matter what he's going to do, people are going to be crucial of him. But, man, Mac Jones, that kid is in the perfect system over there in New England to be successful.
And what about that defense? That defense, do you think they could be a Super Bowl contender?
I don't know if they are this year, but I think they're a lot closer than many people would give them credit for.
How great would this be if you could make a Super Bowl contest right now, decided, season thrown away, it's the terrible Super Bowl. It's the New England Patriots, quarterbacked by whom?
Mac Jones.
Versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, quarterbacked by whom?
Tom Brady.
How great would that be? How great. And that's not impossible. I don't think either of them are Super Bowl quality this year, but we'll talk about it. Hey, let's move on before we take our first break. First game on my schedule, Green Bay with a questionable Aaron Rodgers, because he always wanted to be in tow business. No, Rodgers stated he's going to play. They go to Minnesota. This is a strange game. I'm going with the Vikings.
I'm honestly with you on that one, Space. I think that the Vikings are going to have too much in the backfield as far as Dalvin Cook. He's going to run all over him.
He's 100% healthy.
Yes. He's going to run all over him.
And the Packers are ready. Aaron Jones is still out. So A.J. Dillon's not a complimentary player. He's a real player. Let me tell you people out there, it's a big difference being your power runner versus your complimentary runner. I don't know how he's going to do in a full-time role. I'm going with the Vikings, and Dalvin Cook is going to have a day. And maybe, what's his name? Cousins has 3 touchdowns. I think
I could see it. I do believe the Vikings win this game. I think the Packers, although they're 8-2 now is their current record.
Yeah.
I think although the Packers have that record, it's a little bit deceiving because they've played a lot of teams that are under 500. They haven't been up against some tough competition.
The problem that I have to stop you there. The problem is they're playing who they're told to play.
This is true.
I know we love to say they're playing teams that played under 500. That's not their fault.
No, it's not their fault. But what I was alluding to is I don't think they've really been tested much so far this season.
You're
and
100% correct.
I think that the running game, especially of Minnesota, is going to give that Packers defense problems.
So we both agree on the Vikings this week.
That's
what really got we have a pre-show meeting every week, and that's what got Tyler the Mouse so screwed up that he didn't want to show up today because we took and by the way, would you if Rodgers isn't 100%, do you play him?
Yes, because Jordan Love's not the guy.
Jordan Love stinks. Jordan Love's going to be a backup next year, and then I hope he loves Canadian football. Johnny Manziel's got a business card for him. Hey, the next game that I want to talk about is sort of interesting because of one team. New Orleans with Simeon being the starting quarterback still, traveling to Philadelphia. Where is Jalen Hurts showing that he's a man?
Jalen Hurts, I would say Jalen Hurts all season long has been a great fantasy football quarterback, especially in a PRR league, because you get that rush ability. As our guy Tyler likes to say, it's almost like having a cheat code, right? Because you get those extra rushing points. But man, Jalen Hurts the last couple weeks has stepped up. He was on this level, and now he's stepped up a tier to where he's been playing really good football and throwing really accurate passes. I mean,
I think he's not a top 10 quarterback right now. Right. You know, the best weapon over there is Devontae Smith.
Exactly. And
think about it. They traded their best receiver next to Smith and their tight end. Did they throw away the season with that trade? And now if they win this game, they're one game under 500 and they're in the race. I love Hurts. I love Hurts and I love the Eagles, but there's nobody else on that that can be interesting to us to talk about for fantasy. So we go to maybe if we thought the Steelers and the Lions was a bad game, what could be the worst game in the history of worst games is Dolphins travel to New York and play the Jets. And the Jets minus, if you need a quarterback, anybody, Joe Flacco's available.
that he is
starting. Yeah, Joe Flacco's starting for the New York Jets.
How crazy is
Tua
that?
And the Dolphins. How crazy is that? And I'm telling you are the Jets laying a 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5 points.
Meaning
right now,
that the Dolphins really are a half-point favorite.
Right, because you get 3 for being at home.
So I'm going to take the Jets. The Jets are going to win this game straight up. It's going to be their defense is going to win it. And what's Joe Flacco? I guarantee you, Joe Flacco throws 2 touchdowns. And on that, I know you're going to take a break and say, wow, 2 touchdowns. Space, are you crazy?
I could see it. I was always a Flacco fan when he was in Baltimore. I mean, he's an easy guy to root for. And you know, he got kind of the short end of the stick there at the end of his stint with Baltimore, but we'll see what he does.
He could screw up everybody's real plans for the Jets because he's going to try to win while the Jets are obviously trying for that kid, you know, who's the quarterback from Pittsburgh that's doing so well. I forget his name. He'll be
I know who you're talking about.
He'll be the first quarterback taken. I mean, because if they don't take him, Pittsburgh's going to take this kid to replace.
Wait, so you believe that the Jets are going to take another quarterback in the draft?
We've seen it happen before.
What you're saying?
Arizona did it 2 years in a row.
That they did.
And remember one thing, if you can get rid of them for draft picks to teams, next year's going to be a real weird year, and then we'll take a break and go down a lot of the other games. Next year is weird because you got to look at Rodgers, you got to look at Wilson on the Seahawks. Are they really going to leave both of those teams?
Yes, I believe so.
I think what if Rodgers wins the Super Bowl? Green Bay defended him during this vaccination crap. Green Bay. What if he decides, well, you know what? I misspoke. I'm going to stay married to this woman.
Before we get into our break, real quick, just to touch on that, I don't think there's any way that Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay. I don't think the Packers go to the Super Bowl, let alone win. But
okay, they could, they might, but their plan was screwed up if what you just said minutes ago, and I agreed with you, if it's true, if Jordan is not, if they give him one more game because Aaron Rodgers needs rest, don't underestimate the power of a dumb Green Bay Packer. Sorry, Tyler.
Right.
Jordan's not the answer. They have to go fishing for a brand new quarterback.
That they do. They have to trade for a guy, or they have to draft the replacement and throw him on the field right away.
Remember, the problem with trading for a guy is you give up a lot of good stuff to get that guy. Wouldn't it be funny if the Packers traded with Seattle
and ended up with Russ?
And it was Russell Wilson for Aaron Rodgers? Melt on that for a second.
I don't want Russell Wilson in our division either, there, Space. But with that being said, guys, we're going to take a quick break and hear from a couple of our sponsors here at 1252.
Wait.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Real estate is hot right now, and you need an attorney to handle all of this. My guy, Mark Berardi, does this all day long. He's a straight shooter. There's no fancy language. He's just to the point. And he and his team get the deal done. There's no BS. He also does estate planning, trusts, wills, and power of attorney. He has great reviews up and down the board from a ton of happy clients. For him and his big team, they're all just down to earth and normal people as much as he is. You will not be disappointed you went with him. He's located in Homer Glen and New Lenox and handles real estate all over Illinois. There's no place too far, so give him a call today at 708-942-8030. Again, that's 708-942-8030, or look him up online at Mark Berardi and Associates.
And we are back. We heard our fearless leader in that last ad, Mr. Fat Mike Chicago, down enjoying his honeymoon in Punta Cana right now.
1252 entertainment is so hot, the place is on fire. Okay. Wait, can you see this? I just want to show you this. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
That's my official thing for Thursday. I am not a turkey. Wait. Just so you know, I'm not a turkey.
I got to tell you, my friend, you change profile pictures more than I change my T-shirt, I would say.
Well, I don't change my underwear more than twice. You know, we don't go anywhere. Look at, so I've never hidden. I'm in a legal state. So are you. So I go some marijuana shopping today. Look who the hell came out with their own brand. One of the greatest basketball players of all time, Allen Iverson, has his own brand of, shall we say, smoke.
We talking about practice. This ain't a game. We talking about practice. I better not say that again. We'll probably have to pay him royalties, but
you never know. We'll put him on the show. Okay, the next game on the schedule. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Show. You know what? If you got any questions, let us know, or else Tarbell and I are just going to shoot the shit about players, and that's it. The next game on the schedule is interesting. Cam is waiting the arrival of his ex-head coach.
Oh, I love this matchup.
The National Football League team, whatever the hell their name is coming into Carolina. That's a big game.
It is absolutely a big game. You alluded to number one reason that Cam Newton will be facing his former coach in Ron Rivera.
Right.
I love this game. I think Cam's going to have a big game. They've officially named him the starter. They've been game planning with him all week.
Did you hear what who's their head coach, Huell, or what's his name?
Yeah, Huell.
Yeah. And he said that the backup quarterback is also ready and he's going to get some plays.
Yeah, so I think what they're going to do is something similar to what we saw last week, although it'll be more Cam Newton heavy than the other way around. I think we'll see about 65-35 split of reps between the two. And I think it's a good strategy because Cam gives you that elusiveness with his legs, and the kid that they've got behind him has a good deep ball. So use them to their strengths. And, I don't know that I feel like Cam's going to have a breakout game just because he is going against his former coach. He's got something to prove. We got a question here in the chat from a Facebook user. Do you think Tevin will play Sunday? I'm assuming that's Tevin Jenkins for the Chicago Bears.
No, I thought it was Tevin, what's his name, on San Francisco. The running back that there's our turkey of the year. Who was the young running back? What was his name? Oh, that was no, it was Lance. Never mind. I smoked some Iverson.
I'm assuming that question is directed towards Tevin Jenkins of the Bears, the offensive lineman rookie pick. If that's the case, I do think that he's still got a couple more weeks before he's back out on the field. He just started his 21-day window last week to be removed from IR, so I think he's got a ways to go here. I think it'll be at least another week before we see him out on the field. But back to this game, I mean, you look at what Cam Newton's been able to do historically, and before I even say that, can we say how ironic it is that Carolina went full circle? They paid Cam Newton's backup, backup, and now they're paying Cam Newton to be his backup's backup.
And they're paying him a guaranteed $5 million, I think $4.5 million. Three of the other quarterbacks they paid to get out of the way.
Yes.
To get Cam out of the way. And now he's making $5 million, upwards of 10 if he does well, and they'll be happy if he does well. You watch him see, because Rivera screwed up this offseason. He didn't try to get a quarterback. He didn't try to upgrade.
Absolutely.
He brought in, what's his name? Ryan Fitzpatrick. And
Fitzmagic.
Yeah, and
so Magic he got hurt early.
Yeah. And Heineke, by the way, is a great backup, and there's nothing wrong with having great backups, but he's not a starter. He's a great backup.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, you want to go on to what I think is one of the most important. So you would play Cam this Sunday? Who else would you play on Washington and Panthers?
Well, obviously you're going to play Christian McCaffrey.
Right, and is that kid, Terry McLaughlin, that I bragged about last week, and then he got hurt? Is he, what's his status? McLaughlin, whatever his name is.
McLaurin. I believe that he is not going to play this weekend, but I'll have to verify that.
Okay.
On the Carolina side, DJ Moore, always a solid pickup if you need a guy and he's available.
You're relying on a guy to throw touchdowns, and he's going to run them in. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but it's going to be a fun game to watch just because Cam will create activity against Ron Rivera.
Absolutely.
Rivera, for those of you who might be too young or just were too stoned or drunk and don't remember, that was not a good relationship.
That was a horrible relationship.
If that was a husband and wife, that would have made it on CNN. That's how
absolutely
that relationship was. So it's going to be fun to see what happens. The next game is a great game. Indianapolis travels to the Bills.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
a quality game. And
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Space.
No, I don't know what I was going to say. I was just sort of talking
All right.
about Jonathan Taylor and the
That's
Colts. And
that's exactly where I was going. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is an absolute monster over these last few weeks, and with as rough of a start as he had to the season, it's crazy to think that we're putting him in that category, that top tier category of running backs, because
somebody put on Facebook yesterday, F you assholes for not trading me the 10 times I offered up Jonathan Taylor. No, now you can't have him. Because he was so bad at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. If you drafted him in the beginning of the season through probably week 4, you were trying to get rid of him. And ever since then, he's just turned it on and been an extremely big asset for the Indianapolis Colts. We got a quick question here in the chat. Who do you think is going to replace Mac Sunday? I think obviously it's got to be Irvin, right? They went out, they made the move to get him, bring him in, add some depth to this defense. He was good in 2019, dealt with some injuries last season. He's another guy that's a vet that has been a proven good player in the league for some time. I mean, and Ryan Pace seems to hit on these guys who have maybe been under the radar for a little while. I think Irvin comes and he plays well, but you look at a guy like Jason Peters, for instance. The guy was fishing on a shrimp boat when Ryan Pace and the Bears called him to come play in Chicago. So, and he's been a tremendous asset, even just with the growth and the lessons that he's helped teach the younger players. And then follow-up question here. Do you think Marsh will play again Sunday? I do think we will see Marsh in a limited role this Sunday, especially with Danny Trevathan being out of the picture. I think that they'll plug and play Marsh on the defensive side of the ball. Personally, I think that was the worst taunting call that I've ever seen. I think it was bullshit.
That was BS, and I'm so tired. I'm glad you said that, Tarble. That was the worst thing. When you look at refs should never. I'm tired of the excuse, they're just human beings and they make mistakes. No, you have mistake-proof evidence that you can go to every time. That ref bounced into him. That wasn't a taunt. I mean, and you know what? What's so wrong if he did look and taunted them? They got rid of the guy. He made a great play. He didn't shoot anybody.
And then they double down and fine him 5% of his salary for the year. Absolute garbage. And as our Facebook users saying here, we should have won that game. Absolutely. That shifted the momentum. Absolutely it did. And it's one of those things where I'm a believer that yes, we want to keep the game of football fair and intact, but you cannot determine the game. You cannot determine the game by referee calls. Then it's not a game.
This isn't touch football. This is men versus men, and I apologize if I'm ticking off any woman out there. I think it should be fair. If you can go out there and be better than Marsh, then go ahead and play for the Bears. I mean, but at the end of the day, you can't cream puff this league. Celebrations are fun.
Right. Well, and it's not only that. Some of the other calls that were made in that game, specifically the no call on the blatant pass interference and then the late hit on Justin. Well, yeah, the late hit on Justin Fields that should have been a roughing the passer 15-yard call that would have put us right in field goal range. Didn't happen. So we're getting off track here. I'm getting too pissed off about the Bears.
That's okay. Knocking the refs is no different than wanting to knock the NFL. We're still sitting here. You're worried about last week's game. We're still sitting here and wondering about a top 5 quarterback in Deshaun Watson. If there's 22 cases charging him, boom, then he's guilty. Bye-bye. But if he's not, then let him come back and play, because we're fantasy football players. We're not everyday human beings that care what he did to 22 other people right now. If he did do it, of course, I would care, and he would be out of the league. But you know what? This is a league that embraced Michael Vick to come back. And you know what? Every time he's on Fox, I turn off the TV because of what he did. Next to humans, I love dogs. I might love dogs. No, I do love dogs more than humans. And
I feel you.
You know, and I mean, no. And so, you know, the refs screw it up like crazy. Okay, Here's the game I wanted to talk about. Lions go into Cleveland. And that's the guy. I don't know the guy's name who is starting for the Lions this week. I'm looking. I don't know his name. If somebody has quarterbacks, I mean, I can't find the guy's name. I've never heard of him.
The guy that's starting for the Lions?
Yeah. I never heard of him.
It is Boyle.
Yeah. Who is Tim Boyle?
I can't tell you any more than his name.
I think I once had a guy named Tim Boyle work for me. I mean, I wonder if it's oh my God, oh my. And Nick Chubb is back. Let me tell you right now. Nick Chubb, I'll tell you right now, Tarbo. Nick Chubb won't carry more than 12 times, but he will have over 110 yards of rushing.
You think he's just going to eat that defense up, and I agree with you. I'm with you on that one. As our commenter saying here, truly epic, saying the Lions suck for real. The only reason the Lions aren't going to be 0-17 this year is because they tied last week against the Steelers. So,
and by the way, they should have won so many times. But what I'm saying is they only care if they get the first draft choice. But that they'll screw up again, because that's what they tend to do. But the Browns, this is a get-well game for the Browns. And let me tell you, they're not going to stop at 35 points and slow down.
No.
This team wants to be on Sports Center or Greenberg show on the first thing in the morning and show that he scored 55 points.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's what's going to happen. I'm not the betting expert here. Our betting expert comes up directly after us, our guy Harry the Greek.
And is he smart? You know what? I'm buying some property because of that betting guy. Go ahead, Harry.
But with
is Harry
that being
his name?
Said, yes, Harry the Greek.
Okay. Harry should have us on once in a while, just to say hi.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll bet him. I'll bet him. Go ahead. You were saying.
Like I said, I'm not the betting guy. Of course, that's our guy Harry the Greek. But with that being said, I would slam the over on this game. If you're making one bet and one bet only this week,
but
slam the over.
There's one problem. Only one team's going to get scores. It's possible Detroit gets shut out.
It is possible, but I don't know. I think, as you said, we see a big-time scoreboard differential in this game, and I think they don't stop until it's brutal. I mean brutal.
Because they need to brutalize somebody. Attila the Hun had to go in. And no. Well, I said Chubb. 12 carries is an average over 10 yards a carry. I mean, okay, so we're playing every Cleveland guy we can play, especially the kicker. So you're playing Baker Mayfield. I am.
I would play Baker. I mean, realistically, he's going to get points, even if it's just touchdown tosses in the red zone that, Chubb gets them all the way down there. That's fine.
What's that other receiver? Not Jarvis Landry. Peoples something. He's got 3 last names.
Yes, Peoples.
He took over Beckham's position, and he is great. He is great. Los Angeles Rams, and I'm right here. My window's
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, I love him.
And he is questionable currently.
All right. I can't take it. Okay, we're running out of time. Here's a big game. Texans-Titans.
Texans and the Titans. Yeah.
Is this another game? If you had Derrick Henry, you wouldn't even play him this game. You'd sit him if you're the Titans. You don't need him.
Well, Derrick Henry's out,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I know, but
so.
I'm using that as a put down. Texans to me are almost as bad as the Lions.
Yeah, I would agree there. Obviously, with Deshaun Watson standing on the sidelines watching this team fall apart, he's got to be grinning from ear to ear because that's exactly what he wanted to see. And he's forcing their hand if it does come back that he's cleared of all charges. But with that being said, I think this is an absolute blowout of a game. I think the guy that's going to be in the backfield, we used to see him a lot as Chicago Bear fans, and Adrian Peterson is going to have a terrific game against the Texans defense. And Ryan Tannehill, I tell you what, so many people sleep on Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback, and I've said it before, and I will say it week after week. Ryan Tannehill in the correct system, which he is in the perfect system for his skill set there in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. I think that Ryan Tannehill's going to have one heck of a game against this Texans defense. I really do.
As I said last week, and I think almost every week, Tannehill, you know what, if I could just hold myself at draft night, you all want next year, everybody will be fighting for Herbert, and they'll be fighting for, Trevor Lawrence, et cetera, et cetera. Hold on to the third or fourth round to take Ryan Tannehill. Well,
I agree.
I truly epic put up Ryan Tannehill or Tom Brady. For whatever reason, normal sense would tell me to take Tannehill, but I'm taking Brady 100 out of 100 times because he's Tom Brady. I thought he was going to pull it out last week. I swear to God. What worries me is the same thing about LeBron, because I love basketball. I don't like LeBron James. I don't love all of his touting and King James and everything else that came from the Jordan era. And so I just don't like him of hopping around from team to team. But at the end of the day, he's freaking good. Okay?
Jumping into fouls.
Yeah. Tannehill is really good, but there's something really special about Brady. But you know what? You could be seeing the end of Brady. He's the one who says he's going to play next year. His body might be telling him something different.
Does Tom Brady, without a doubt, go down as the greatest quarterback of all time when he retires?
No, greatest player of all time.
Oh, giving him
you have to. Too many, and I might put somebody else there, and I think I know what you're talking about too. But you have to, because too many people before me, smarter people who get paid big bucks, not like the $1,000 a week that Fat Mike pays me and everything. I'm only kidding. But at the end of the day, Brady is just, they could be breaking down. You could see Brady breaking down. You could be seeing LeBron breaking out right now. LA's only 8-8, and LeBron's only played 6 games. Look how many games he missed last year and the year before. They are so driven by ego. They can't say no. I've been around a lot of great athletes in their afterlife. In their afterlife, I've been lucky enough to be there at the Score and ESPN 1000, where you could be with, may he rest in peace, Steve McMichael, or Doug Buffone, or Gale Sayers, or the best of the best that would be in the top 5 of all time, Walter Payton. As much as I love him, I can't put Walter ahead of. Maybe I'm too old and it's a different era, but everything I've ever read and saw about Jim Brown, I just wish I would have paid more attention to him and everything else, because boy, oh boy, that guy. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Brady, if Brady doesn't have a big game today, then he is really falling apart. And
I think he will fall apart.
Is Antonio Brown playing, or is he being suspended by the NFL because of his fake vaccination card?
Oh, I missed
heard
this
nothing.
Story.
Right now,
I missed that story.
You didn't see where the FBI is investigating the Buccaneers and Antonio Brown for buying a fake. Go Google it.
I absolutely will.
They're saying so. Watch pregame if you're playing. It'll be a welcome sight the one thing about Brady in his defense, Brady has proven, and then if we have to take another break, Tarbell, let me know, but Brady has proven that he gets very comfortable with people. Who was the wide receiver?
Absolutely.
Who was the wide receiver that he got very comfortable, that was a real good-looking guy and then ended up in Detroit or something?
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman. But look at, him when Randy Moss was there. He threw the Randy all the time.
Right.
And it's the same thing right now. He hasn't had Gronk in how many weeks? Is Gronk back? I haven't heard.
Is Gronk
I cannot
back?
answer.
I
can't answer.
I'm not sure whether he's going to be playing on Sunday or not. That's one that I was not too privy with. Got a comment here saying front page news. Well, my friends, I'm a Bears fan at heart, so I don't really care what's going on in Tampa, unfortunately. But for the purpose of this show, I will say Gronk is healthy and active. So
okay, then play him, because
play him.
Bottom line, they have to get. This is not you're running away with it in the third and fourth quarter, sit down Tom Brady game.
No.
The old man is pissed off the way they've been playing, and rightfully so. It's going to be, the Monday night game with Tampa Bay hosting the Giants. Don't touch any Giant and play every Buccaneer. Simple period of the story.
I would agree. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a quick break and hear from.
And I'm only minutes away from eating a Lou Malnati's pizza. Yes, I'm in California, but I order Lou to go, and we have frozen pizza. It's not as good as live, but it's better.
But it's all you can do out there, right?
Better than anything you buy out here.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll hear from one of our sponsors, the Jonathan Darren team with the Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group.
And he's going to help me with buying the house.
Absolutely, and we will be back with you guys in 60 seconds.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
And with that, we are back.
Who took those
absolutely. I'm not sure who filmed the video, but it did come out beautiful. That shot of Lockport downtown, man, I tell you.
It hit a home run. I can't wait to come to Lockport. I've never been to Lockport for the 60 years 60 years I lived in Chicago. I was never in Lockport. My father told me certain areas Jews weren't welcome. I'm only kidding. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go. I can't wait to go. Now, wait a second. Before we do, you got some stuff I want to go over. Number one, the great running back Kamara is out for sure for New Orleans.
Absolutely, and so sad.
You got the number one wide receiver from Dallas out.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper's out, and you've got what's his name on Arizona's out again. The wide receiver, Deshaun Watson, not Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Jackson.
Thank you very much. Now I want to go. I talked about this at the first of the broadcast, and before we get off and sign off and go have Blue Man at it, my biggest turkey of the year is going to surprise you. And by the way, Tarbell, your biggest turkey of the year can't be a beer, because you have too much emotion with the beer, and you can't. It's one reason. And I have played this game since 1992, fantasy football, Every season since 92, I've had maybe 3 or 4 Bears on my team ever since that time because it made me too emotional.
Understood.
And usually they would be. But my biggest turkey of the year, it really should have gone to Deshaun Watson for stupidity to get himself into this environment. Only he
Agreed.
can blame himself. There were 22 women that came out against you, dude. Did you force it upon them, or did they force themselves upon you? Did they all get together and say, hey, we're going to settle this for $22 million. We're all going to have $1 million. Please. Let's all accuse him. So I'm just saying I wanted to give it to him, but I'm giving it to this person. And I'll tell you my reason why after I give the biggest turkey of the year so far. Halfway point of a 17-game season is Saquon Barkley.
You know, I see it. I understand why you would say that because a lot of guys probably thought that Saquon was going to be back into that 2017, 2018 form, and he just hasn't lived up to it. He's not the guy. So far this season, I shouldn't even say this season. Over the past few years, we've seen a trend where running backs are really hot for a season, 2, maybe 3.
Then they get hurt.
Then they get hurt or they get figured out. And that's why one thing that I always hear over on ESPN 1000 from John Yurkovich, our guy Yurko, is
Yurko! Hey, Archie, get me a sandwich.
You don't pay running backs. You don't pay running backs. Plug and play. And that's the best advice that you can have as a team. There's a million guys out there that'll run the ball hard for you.
Tarbill, think about what you're saying. Elijah Mitchell, the great rookie running back on the 49ers, is one of the top running backs in the league. He was taken in the 6th round. They took Trey Sermon in the 2nd round. There isn't a draft that didn't draft him. Trey Sermon could be, but you were taking an unknown. So how can you be a turkey if you were an unknown?
Right.
You know, so you have to look at him. But my biggest Saquon, and I'll tell you, he went 4th in our league. Not only because of his injuries, that you should have prejudged the injuries. Once hurt, always hurt as a running back.
Right.
At the end of the day, the Giants are so bad, he still wasn't going to do as well as you would hope.
I'm going to take an easy target here, and one that may surprise you, but my turkey is going to be Jared Goff, the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, because I had high expectations for Goff.
So did I.
Coming into a different system. They do have some playmakers in Detroit.
Hey,
their team's mostly garbage, but
anybody wants to look offensively. DeAndre Swift is one of the top 10 running backs in the NFL,
which is crazy.
You have their tight end is definitely top 10, if not top 7 tight end.
Hawkinson, yes.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it. And they did have, before injury, some good wide receivers.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with Goff is I thought that he would come to this system and be able to succeed, do some things like he did in that playoff series run with the Rams, and he just hasn't been able to string it together consistently at all.
And by the way, at the end of this, at the end of the 17th, maybe we'll do the second half bust of the year. You could be looking at the other quarterback of that deal. Because the last two games, now you're listening to sports radio and they're doing a breakdown. Why did you expect so much from Matthew Stafford? He had maybe arguably one of the top 5 greatest wide receivers of all time.
Megatron.
And at the end of the day, what you could be seeing is what you might get. I think the Odell thing killed the Rams. If the Rams didn't do so well the first half of the season, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. That's what I think is going to happen.
I would agree with you.
I don't care how many great names. I don't care how many great names they have in defense, the Rams. They can't stop the run, ever.
No, I would agree. And I think the thing with Matthew Stafford is people see, he was a 4,000 yard per season passer for much of his career.
Because the fourth quarter was all throwing balls to catch up. That's
yes,
number one.
exactly. And that's the thing that
the other team rested their starters,
right.
And the Lions were always trying to catch up.
And that's the thing that, people seem to forget, that the stats might lie a little bit, but the tape doesn't. And you see a guy like Stafford, and yeah, he has a 4,000 yard season, but if 1,500 of those yards are in garbage time, what good is it?
Right. And by the way, if I'm correct on the years, 6 great years for Megatron.
Yes.
I'm not people. If you haven't, go on YouTube, just type in Megatron Detroit Lions. I'm telling you, you're going to see one of the greatest receivers that's not talked about because he was a Lion of all time. I mean, and this guy was, he deserved the name. And at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford had him too. The Rams shot themselves in the foot, though, last week when they picked up Beckham. Beckham's over, done with, 0, period. What you see is what you get. Agree. Good luck. And I think Darrell Henderson is run out of the gas. The guy's too old. Do we got any streamers or anything, Tarbo? Let's go.
Our guy Tyler DeMouse did not hook us up with any streamers this week, but I'm going to go on that edge, and I'm going to say Cam Newton's your streamer. If you're in a pinch for a quarterback, absolutely go after Cam Newton. He's going to have 3 touchdowns at least, I predict, in this game. 1 rushing, 2 passing, and I think that's minimum for Cam Newton this week. So
really? Now, here's mine.
Go ahead.
Streamer? Can I have one?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
A game we didn't talk about, and we probably have a couple more minutes to
absolutely.
talk about. If I'm correct, the kid with the 3 names out of Kansas City is back this week.
Yes, you are correct.
How do you pronounce his name again?
I'm not even going
to. The kid with 3 names out of Kansas City. God,
I'm not even going to try, but.
Something Hilaire.
Yes.
Right? Clyde Edwards-Hilaire.
Yes.
That's my streamer. I give him 3 short yardage touchdowns.
Wow. Bold prediction by Space at the end of the show.
KC beats the Cowboys at home. There's a reason why they're a favorite.
Oh, no.
Cowboys ain't going in there and winning in Kansas City.
The Cowboys are absolutely going in there and winning in Kansas City. Dak Prescott put on a hell of a performance last week, and I think he's going to piggyback off of that this week. I think the Dallas Cowboys absolutely win that game. You got to remember that the only 2 weapons that Patrick Mahomes has are Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and as great as they both are, teams have exposed Patrick Mahomes and made him look subpar, dare I say, this first half of the season. So,
when you have a headache, you take an Advil, and then the headache goes away, you hope.
Yes.
Last week, when a quarterback throws 5 touchdowns against the Tar-Bill Tombstones, it doesn't matter. He threw 5 touchdowns. And I'm going this week. I'll do a buck. Tar-Bill. I'll do a $1 bet. I take even up. Well, actually, I think Dallas is getting a half point because it's a 2.5 point favorite for KC, correct?
Yes.
So I'll forgo it. You got the Cowboys. I got KC, $1. We're making it interesting.
I'll make it interesting for $5.
$5?
Let's go 5.
Okay. I mean, the mouse can prove that I send the money. I sent it to him.
That he can. Oh, absolutely.
You have to get me the address, but I'm promising you, seriously, may I take a moment to tell all our listeners and the other 1252 sports members, Dave Schuster, my buddy Fred Hubner, Harry, all the other guys, Fat Mike, thank you for this opportunity. And to you and your family, a healthy and happy Thanksgiving. And to all the 1252 people who join with us, we do this out of the pleasure for us, and we hope you like it. Poor Tarbo has to deal with me the last 2 weeks alone. I know I'm crazy.
I love it, my friend. No worries.
The one thing is, it's fantasy football. It doesn't matter. Let's have fun with it, and good luck. And if you lose, I will tell you. I'll leave all of you with this thought. On Thanksgiving Day, many years ago, the Cowboys played the Minnesota Vikings. Cowboys are one of those teams that are always on it. It's at my house in Highland Park, Illinois. That's where I live. And my brother-in-law and I are watching the nighttime game, and we're playing each other that week in fantasy.
Okay.
I was kicking his ass coming into Monday night. Yeah, he had Randy Moss, who, if I'm correct, had 3 touchdowns, 2 of them over 50.
I believe that is correct. Yes.
I am correct because I never forget anything. All-timers, go find somebody else to spook, not me, man. But I mean, sitting there on the couch, full as can be, the old Mike North way of doing the pants open with my hands in it and everything else. And Randy Moss ruined my Thanksgiving.
Oh, darn. I know exactly what game you're talking to.
Happy and healthy one to you, Tarbill, and to your family, and to Tyler. When you listen to this, we do miss you. We'll find out from Fat Mike if we're on next week. If we are on, I'm not because I'm traveling. So at the end of the day, everybody healthy, happy Thanksgiving. And you know what? Let me tell you, dark meat on a honey bun roll, a mini roll, I think it's King's Island, might be one of the greatest sandwiches of all time. So let the people have all the white, take the dark, it's a little bit sweeter, put it on one of those little
King's Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah, really great to make sliders with, but put some dark meat on it. Awesome. T-Bill, have the best.
We'll leave you guys with that. Have a great and safe Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.